Hey yo, this is Dash, and today I'm going to be comparing the Canik METE MC9 LS with the Canik METE MC9 Prime. Which one should you buy? Which one should you carry? All right, first and foremost, welcome back to the channel. Really want to take a moment and say thank you. I've just gotten over my 1,000 subscriber mark, and I am getting close to the hour watch mark in order to monetize my channel. So if you could share this channel, share these videos, and or watch it on repeat, watch it on repeat, watch it on repeat. You can do it! Please and thank you. All right, so before we get in too deep, I'm going to open these up, show you that they are both free and clear. There is nothing in the chambers. Everything is free and clear. So let's compare these two pistols first and foremost. The MC9 LS has not been out for very long. I'm trying to look at the serial number. So this was middle to late last year. The MC9 LS came out, and the MC9 Prime is new for 2025. So the MC9 LS early to mid-year 2024. The MC9 Prime new for 2025. Which one should you buy? Which one should you carry? You see both of them here in front of me. My answer is typically almost always buy them both. But if I had to pick one, I would be picking the MC9 Prime. Canik has a way of putting out a pistol and then improving upon the pistol once it's been out for a little while, and then making changes and then selling you an upgraded pistol. One of the main differences between the LS, or the MC9 LS period, and the MC9 Prime is the flat trigger. Now, what you notice on mine is I do have a flat trigger on my MC9 LS. That's because on all of the Caniks that I carry, I install flat triggers. And I do believe I have a video of me installing this trigger on this pistol. Nice. With that being said, this trigger that's on the MC9 Prime is a little bit different. It is slightly smaller than the factory trigger that I have installed on the LS. You can see the difference between the two. It is slightly smaller. It seems to break at the same, actually the LS, it breaks past 90 degrees, where the Prime breaks at 90 degrees. Not a deal breaker, but the size difference between the two triggers is in fact also noticeable. One of the other things that I see on the Prime trigger, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to see it in the light, the reflection, it seems as if more of the blade material, like the side of the trigger blade, has been removed kind of as a lightening measure. There's some scallop holes in it to make it lighter. And the trigger, it still feels the same. It still feels that, just like that, like the Combat Elite Executive or the SFT Pro or the SFX Pro, those flat triggers, the flat trigger that's in the Rival, fantastic. And again, a 90-degree break in the Prime. But where the differences between these two pistols lies, first and foremost, the trigger guard is lessened on the Prime. You can see the difference between the trigger guard. This trigger guard has more material removed from it. In the front, where this has a couple grooves, this has that aggressive texturing. The front of the pistols, underside of the pistols is virtually the same. The barrel lengths are virtually the same. When you come to the top of the pistol, the top and the side of the pistol, you can see on the slide, there is more aggressive texturing or more aggressive I don't know what these were.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
Just lines for grip on the Prime. Also, of course, the Prime is ported, and there is a lightning cut to the slide here on the Prime. The barrel is, let me see, is it fluted? It is, it's not fluted, but it seems to be scalloped. Again, there's material removed from the barrel. Hopefully you can see that, it's coming across on camera. I know the Prime, actually when I purchased the Prime, I've had the Prime for about 2 months now, and I was unable to bring it home because of Maryland. And maybe I'll do a video on the problems with the Maryland, what's called the roster. But I was unable to bring it home because it wasn't on the roster for Maryland, so it could not be sold, or paperwork couldn't be started. Because of that, it stayed at the range that I work at, and when I would go into work on Sundays, I would take it and I would shoot it, or whenever I would go into the range, I would take it and I would shoot it. So I have not cleaned this pistol yet. From out of the box, it probably has between 500 and 1,000 rounds that have gone through it. If you come into the range and I am there, and if I had this pistol, well, it was still there, but I would let anyone shoot this pistol that came in that wanted to try it so that they could try it. With that being said, though, I wanted to give it a bunch of rounds, or put a bunch of rounds through it before I cleaned it, and I have not done that yet, but that will be coming soon, in a video coming soon. I'm gonna wrap my fingers up over and pull the slide back about 1/4 inch, pull the slide release buttons straight down, release the slide, pull the trigger, push the slide forward, and it'll go forward about 1 inch and lift straight up. I will be cleaning this pistol, taking it apart and cleaning it. Back to the comparison. So the next comparison, or the next thing on the comparison, is obviously the back of the slide on the Prime is more aggressive than the LS. And it's not a bad thing that this slide is a little smoother. I do notice that with the more aggressive texturing on the Prime, I do have, I won't say a little more difficulty, but I probably just need to adjust the tension on my holster. Now the holster I'm using, because I'm sure everyone is, or folks are going to ask about that, I'm using a Tier 1 concealed holster that I modified to fit and work with my MC9s, period. I had just the regular MC9. Then, of course, because the MC9 LS has a long slide and a long grip, it still has the same thickness as the MC9 that will also fit into the same holster that I modified. And this is the, I'll put the link, or I'll put a description of which holster this is from Tier 1 Concealed. And I've had this holster for going on probably 3 years, and it looks pretty fine. The only thing is the clips, one of my clips is broken. It might not be on this pistol, I mean on this holster. But the holster is holding up just fine. And like I said, I modified it. What I did was, there was spacers inside of the holster. I took the spacer and cut it in half, basically, sandwiched everything back together, and it's working fine to hold the MC9 and now the MC9 Prime. Well, the MC9 LS, the MC9, and now the MC9 Prime. All right, so holster, let's say out of the way, but for those of you who might ask. So I have a scale here. Let's weigh the two to see. And let's get to pounds and ounces. So first up, we have the MC9 LS, and I have an empty mag here. I'll put that into the pistol. We have 1 pound, 8 ounces even. 1 pound, 8 ounces even. I'm gonna take and use the same mag in the Prime, we have 1 pound, 7.8 ounces. Now I don't know how much the optic weighs, but that is the only difference between the two. It is literally less than an ounce, even with the optic. I made mention of the texture between the MC9 LS. I want you to take note of the texture where it stops. It is basically just on the lower, let's say 2/3 of the grip, the front of the grip. It is not on the side where your thumb resides, and the grip that's up here where if you keep your trigger finger off to the side, that little ledge here, you can see just what the size of that patch of the texturing is. I also made mention of the texture on the front of the pistol, or on front of the trigger guard, which is actually rather aggressive. I mean, your finger could get caught there. But when you compare it to the Prime, the texturing goes all the way up to the top of the grip. It is more aggressive in the back, and the texture is rougher. And if you have shot the Canik TTI Combat, the TTI Combat grip is the same grip that they have on this Prime, and that grip is fantastic. The texture is fantastic. Above where your trigger finger will rest, there is more area of where that grip is, that pattern is put into the frame. And on the front of the grip or trigger guard, the same aggressive texture, diamond-esque texture, is on the front of the pistol as well. The rails in the front of the pistol are the same. And then we have the differences in the barrel. The MC9 LS has a straight, regular old barrel. The Prime, the barrel in the Prime, it seems to be lightened with the kind of scalloping on it. It's not fluted, but there is definitely material that's been removed. And of course, it is ported. You can see the 3 ports on the Prime barrel, as well as it's engraved with Prime. But other than that, they are very, very similar. They shoot very similarly. The Prime, I did not notice with the Prime, I did not notice the compensator or the porting doing much to keep the muzzle down. It wasn't like it was a drastic difference. They shot very similarly. They shoot very similarly. The experience is pleasant shooting the experience is pleasant shooting either of these pistols. They are small pistols, so they are going to be a little snappier than a full-size pistol. So if you're looking for something that's going to shoot absolutely, flat, then get yourself the stainless steel rival. But if you are looking for something that's lightweight, that's thin, that's easy to carry, easy to shoot, and is accurate, well, it was more accurate for me once I put the optic on it.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you,
we don't care.
You can't go wrong with either of these. If you can pick one of the LS's up used, that would be my go-to. And no one should in their right mind be coming up off of the MC9 Prime as far as turning it back in and or selling it. But if you happen to find one, snap that one up too. But overall, if I had to choose, I would choose the MC9 Prime, just for the simple fact that it is slightly lighter. That trigger is slightly better. The texture on the slide is more aggressive. The porting is there's no plus plus side for me for the porting on the barrel. The magwell, there is a magwell included with the Prime. And I believe there is a magwell included with the LS as well, but in order to use it, you have to change and put on a different backstrap. And that's why I don't have the magwell on the LS. But if you have any other questions about either of these pistols, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. And I'll see you next time.